Now to the apparent chemical weapons attack this morning in northwest Syria.
More than 80 people were killed in the incident.
No excuse whatsoever for the deliberate attack on civilians and on children.
There can be no future for Assad in a stable Syria.
I looked at the New York Times to get the explanation, and they said, worst chemical attack in years in Syria. U.S. blames Assad, so it's all over and done with.
This attack that you're seeing the product of right now comes just days after the Trump administration announced a major shift in the U.S. policy on Syria. That shift was no longer will the U.S. have any interest in regime change.
Special report. Strike on Syria.
President Trump has just ordered a military strike on Syria.
The U.S. has reportedly launched dozens of cruise missiles at a Syrian government target.
Cruise missiles were launched by 2 U.S. Navy ships.
I really believe that we should have and still should take out his airfields and prevent him from being able to use them to bomb innocent people and drop sarin gas on them.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched.
I think this is the single fastest punishing strike I have ever seen.
And I think it's incumbent upon us, all of us, we all believe this, to help our audience sort out fact from fiction. After 11 weeks in office, President Trump just had his best 24 hours. His Supreme Court nominee was confirmed by the Senate. He wrapped a summit meeting with his most important counterpart, and he pulled off a military strike in Syria without going to war with Russia. And he pulled off a military strike in Syria. Trump just had his best 24 hours.
Malcolm, I want you to go into greater detail. We see these beautiful pictures at night from the decks of these 2 U.S. Navy vessels in the Eastern Mediterranean. I am tempted to quote the great Leonard Cohen, "I'm guided by the beauty of our weapons." And they are beautiful pictures of fearsome armaments making what is for them a brief flight over to this airfield. These beautiful pictures.
I'd like to know specifically how that release of chemical gas, if it did occur, and it looks like it did, how that occurred. Because frankly, I don't think Assad would have done that. It does not serve his interests. It would tend to draw us into that civil war even further.
Who do you think is behind it? Who do you think is behind it?
It makes no sense, even if you were totally separate from this and take no signs of this, and you were just an analyst. It doesn't make any sense for Assad under these conditions to all of a sudden use poison gases. I think it's zero chance that he would have done this.
Well, I can tell you that we provide through USAID about $23 million in assistance to them.
We're about to show you some very graphic and disturbing images from the fallout of a suspected chemical weapons attack in Syria.
Show victims, many of them children, struggling to breathe.
Ships in the Mediterranean, and those cruise missiles were targeting an airfield in Syria.
взлетная полоса, рулежные дорожки и самолеты сирийских военно-воздушных сил на стоянках не повреждены. Что сразу после нанесения массированного ракетного удара по сирийской авиабазе началось широкомасштабное наступление бандформирования ИГИЛ и Джабхата Нусра на позиции сирийских войск.
Secretary Mattis, who was CENTCOM commander in 2013 when President Obama decided not to take action against Syria, this is something he was frustrated by in 2013. He's now the Secretary of Defense. They had plans in place and they've gone ahead.
What appeared on to our investigation that that was used by the opponents, by the rebels. We have no indication at all that the government, Syria, the authority of the Syrian government have used chemical weapons.
Beyond any doubt that the Syrian regime has used chemical weapons against its own people multiple times.
Опять поводом для развязывания агрессии служит не объективное расследование, а голословные заявления, подтасовки фактов, сотрясание фотографиями и псевдопробирками международных организаций.
The policy of the government to say that we are attacking civilians, we are attacking hospitals, we are attacking schools, we are doing all these atrocities, that's not possible because you cannot work or go against your interests. You cannot go against your duty toward the people, otherwise you are going to lose the war as a government. You cannot withstand such a ferocious war for 5 years and a half while you are killing your own people. That's impossible.
Mr. Mohammad Javad Zarif has strongly condemned the U.S. missile strikes against Syria, which he says were carried out based on, quote, bogus allegations. In a number of tweets, Zarif says years after the 9/11 attacks, the U.S. is fighting on the same side as Al-Qaeda and Daesh in Syria and Yemen. According to the Iranian foreign minister, the U.S. helped former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein build chemical weapons to use them against Iran during the imposed war, and now Washington attacks Syria over such banned arms.
Администрация Соединенных Штатов Америки меняется, а методы развязывания войн со времен бомбардировок Югославии, Ирака и Ливии остаются неизменными.
The problem is not between me and the people. I don't have a problem with the people because the United States is against me, the West is against me, many Arab countries, including Turkey, which is not Arab, of course, against me. And if the Syrian people are against me, how can I be here? I'm not puppet. I wasn't made by the West. And some countries, they believe that they can control Syria through orders or through money or petrodollars. And this is impossible in Syria. This is the problem. It's not about reconciliation between the Syrian and the Syrian. We don't have civil war. It's about terrorism and support coming from abroad to support terrorists to destabilize Syria. This is our war.